So what exactly is the Retail Commerce Edition and its relationship to BigCommerce? I get that question a lot. And inside of Acumatica, what we've done is we've built a commerce feature, which allows you to quickly establish a synchronization between Acumatica and BigCommerce. There's a native integration that we've built inside of Acumatica, which pushes and pulls information out to BigCommerce. And that's what we're looking at here. Inside the Commerce tab, you have your BigCommerce stores, which you can use to establish your connection through API keys that you pull off of your BigCommerce site. You can choose which entities should be synchronized between the two systems. You can also choose the direction of the sync on these entities. You can turn some of these on for a real-time sync. There's a lot of different settings you can apply here. You can drop in customer-specific information. So whenever a customer creates an account on BigCommerce and they flow into the ERP, what customer class should they be assigned to? How should you create the customer number? Whenever a customer is checking out as a guest, what customer accounts should you associate with them inside of the ERP? Same thing with the inventory settings. You can do things like set products to specific product categories inside of BigCommerce. You can tell the system of the cross-sell related items and upsells inside of Acumatica. Which of those should be exported out to BigCommerce to be shown as related items? What's the visibility of a product supposed to look like? How are we going to handle inventory? So if a product is out of stock inside of Acumatica, does that mean we automatically take it off the website in BigCommerce? Or do you want to keep selling that product regardless of what the inventory is inside of Acumatica? You have the ability to set those levels on a global scale. So in this case, we're going to track quantity. And when we're out of stock, we're going to set everything as disabled. But if you have specific products that you don't want to do that with, maybe you want to do nothing. Maybe you still want to take orders even though you're out of stock. You can change that on an individual product by product scale. It doesn't have to be global. And then you can do things like set the availability mode, like what really is in inventory when it's in stock and which warehouses are you pulling inventory from. We have some customers that have 10 different warehouses, but only a few of those warehouses are related to the e-commerce sales. When we get into orders, same thing as a customer and inventory. So when an order comes in, which order type do we want to assign it to? How are we going to handle returns and refunds? Whenever there's discounts, how should those discounts be calculated? What non-stock items should gift certificates be associated with? How are we going to handle taxes, even with shipping? So the system recognizes all the shipping configurations you've set up inside of e-commerce, and it allows you to map each of them to a specific ship via inside of the ERP. So you can create these rules here, which is going to automate your fulfillment process, make everything a lot faster. And then the same thing with the payment settings. So the system will recognize the different payment methods that you've set up inside of BigCommerce. You can map those to payment methods inside the ERP, and then you can do things like automate the release of payments or automate the processing of refunds. This is all up to you. Obviously, if you don't have these checked, then you have a manual process, but that comes in handy too. Especially if you're selling really high-quality items and the refund process is a manual process of receiving the item, checking it over before you've released a refund. Maybe you want to put that on hold before you actually push those funds out. Once you have all these different tabs established, and each of these tabs are for one BigCommerce site, technically you could connect to as many BigCommerce sites as you'd like, and all of these different settings could be unique for all those different sites. But once you have this established, you're ready to start syncing data back and forth. Your customers inside the ERP could be exported out to BigCommerce so they could start shopping on your site. When those sales orders, or when the orders are placed on the e-commerce site, they're going to start flowing in as sales orders inside of the ERP. And obviously, you can manage all of your inventory and stock items inside of Acumatica and push that information out to BigCommerce as well. This is really all it takes to get started. Once you have this established data syncing, and then that's when you come into the Commerce connector. And if you have business-specific use cases that are unique to your business, for instance, when sales orders are coming into the ERP, based on the location of the buyer, You want the sales order to use this order type instead of that order type. These things are called conditions, and you can use the Entities window to create those conditions. So, this Entities window is a no-code tool that allows you to control how data flows back and forth between the two systems. You can filter data out. You can map data between the two systems, or you can filter data when it's being exported from the ERP, depending on the entity that we're talking about. If we look at something like sales orders, we have mapping for importing and exporting, as well as filtering for importing and exporting. And you have all these great tools here for drilling into the specific endpoints that are in both Acumatica's API and BigCommerce's API. And you can drill right down to exactly what you need. Even in this source field, you have the ability to actually type your own formulas. So in this case, I have access to all the different endpoints in the BigCommerce API and the Acumatica API. And I can use this information to create my own formulas, to process the data however I like. This is a very powerful tool. Customers that have those unique business use cases, they use this tool to make data flow exactly as they need it to. Now there's a lot more that I could talk about, but I just want to give a brief introduction into what the system actually does and how it works. If you have any other questions, please reach out to us. You can learn more at acumatica.com. Thank you.